It all started when they were 8. Minjin's parents had brought him to his grandfather's ranch for the first and possibly the last time. His grandfather, old and frail, was selling the land, wanting to see his family one last time before his time ran out. While his parents were busy inside the house, Minjin wandered into the woods, curiosity leading him deeper into the unknown. That was when it happened. One step too far, and the ground beneath him gave way. He didn't even realize what was happening until he was sinking, fast. Quicksand. Panic surged through him as he flailed, his small hands grasping at nothing but air. He screamed, but there was no one to hear him. Then, out of nowhere, she came. A girl, about his age, barefoot and wild-haired, appeared like a ghost from the trees. Without hesitation, she grabbed a long branch, urging him to hold on. With strength far greater than her size suggested, she pulled and pulled until he was free, coughing and gasping on solid ground. "You're okay," she said, patting his back. Minjin looked up at her, still in shock. You saved me," she grinned. "Guess that makes us friends now." And just like that, they were inseparable. For that 1 week, Minjin was at the ranch. They ran through the fields, climbed trees, and stayed up late watching the stars. They laughed, they played, they dreamed. But the best moments were when they sat near the old clock tower in town, talking about the future. The day he had to leave, they stood there, their hearts heavy. She pulled a small hairpin from her pocket, her fingers lingering over it before placing it in his hand. "Meet me here," she whispered, "on my 24th birthday." Minjin clutched the pin, nodding, "I promise." And then he was gone. Years passed. Minjin grew up and life took him far away. He joined the military, serving his country. But through every mission, every sleepless night, he thought of her. The girl who had saved him. The girl who had given him a reason to believe in something beyond war and duty. Jisoo, his best friend, knew all about her. He had listened to Minjin's stories for years, teasing him but secretly admiring the depth of his devotion. "Man, you sound like one of those love-struck poets," Jisoo would joke. Minjin would just smile. "You'll understand when you meet her." He counted down the days until his service ended. 1 more year, then months, then weeks. But fate had other plans. The war in Korea. They were deployed into battle, and chaos followed. Gunfire, smoke, the scent of death thick in the air. They fought bravely side by side. Then, a gunshot rang out. Minjin collapsed. Jisoo was at his side in an instant, pressing against the wound, his hands slick with blood. "Stay with me, man. Just hold on." Minjin's breath was shallow. He fumbled in his pocket, pulling out the old hairpin, placing it in Jisoo's hands. His fingers were weak, trembling. "Find her," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "Tell Hanul I never stopped thinking of her, and I'm sorry." Jisoo choked back a sob as he watched his best friend slip away, his hand going limp. Minjin was gone. After the war, Jisoo returned home, the weight of his promise heavy on his soul. He had never met her, but he felt like he knew her. On her 24th birthday, he went to the clock tower. And there she was. Hanul stood there, the same wild beauty Minjin had described so many times. Her hair had grown longer, her face more mature, but she was still her. Still waiting. She turned at the sound of his footsteps, her eyes widening. And then she saw the hairpin. With a cry, she ran to him, throwing her arms around him, believing, just for a moment, that Minjin had come back. Jisoo held her tightly, his throat burning, his heart breaking. Tears filled his eyes as he whispered her name, his voice trembling. "I've missed you." The scene faded with the sound of the clock tower bells ringing, a promise fulfilled in the most heartbreaking way.